When you look at the map of Africa today, and you look at the level, the extent of foreign military presence on the continent, as a historian, I cannot but remind me of what has happened at the end of the 19th century, the period of conquest and colonization. There are more military presence on the foreign military presence on the continent today than even in the 19th century at the time of the colonial conquest and colonization. This is really worrisome.
There are more foreign military bases in Africa. There are more foreign military presence in Africa today than there were in the 18th, 19th century during the conquest. That is what our elder, the historian, is talking about. The question we are asking is, what is the African Union doing about it? The African Union is not concerned about that. They are only there to promote democracy. Even with no security, democracy is better. That is what the African Union is telling us. Because those in the Sahel who are kicking out these foreign colonial criminals and their military bases out of Africa, the African Union is not supporting them. The African Union is saying that no, we only want democracy. Even if there are terrorists in Africa, in your country, which the so-called military bases are there to help fight. The African Union is not concerned about that. And that is not even the insult. Let's go and watch this from the AU policy chief advisor, the same man who was saying Africa is just a jungle and Europe is the garden and the rest of the world is a jungle, including Africa. Look at another insult that he is giving to the people of Africa. I wonder if our leaders normally see this kind of videos. Let's watch it and see.
Sahel, we are not longer there. It's Russia who has taken our place. And this is something quite inconvenient. And see what's happening in other parts of Africa, and you will have to be a little bit worried. When I came to Brussels, in Libya there were French and Italians. Not all the times in accordance, not all the time working together, but they were. Today there are no longer Europeans in Libya. There are only Turks and Russians. And in the Libyan coast there is a chapelet, there is a ring of navy bases, not European navy bases, but Turks or Russian bases, which is not exactly the way we imagine how the Mediterranean area has to be managed.
Yes, that is the policy chief of the policy chief advisor to the European Union, Joseph Barrot or whatever his name is. He was the same man who was saying the rest of the world is a jungle and Europe is garden, and then they have to protect their garden and stuff like that, including Africa is a jungle. Look at the kind of insult. He's insulting Africa, that today, like they are losing their relevance in Africa. They are losing their authority in Africa. They are no more relevant in Africa. Russia and Turkey is now taking over. China is taking over. And this is not what they plan. He's speaking as if like Africa is their property. He's speaking as if like the citizens of Africa, the resources in Africa, everything, the continent belongs to them. So they don't understand why today they have lost guard and other people are taking over their property. And it's worrisome, according to him. Can you imagine? He is saying that it's worrisome. What are we doing, me and you? This is the reason why we are talking about uniting the continent of Africa. This is the reason why we are saying that until we unite the continent of Africa and become strong to stand up against these colonial criminals, they will continue to treat us like the way they are doing to us. Imagine they have military bases all over Africa, claim to be fighting terrorists that they created, and yet promoting terrorism in Africa, because that is the only way they can continue to loot the resources of Africa. And today, those people in the Sahel, the leaders in the Sahel who are kicking them out, they are calling them dictators.
Russia is supporting the dictator Ibrahim Traore.
Yes, they are calling them dictators. And yet, the so-called democratic governance that were there could not drive out the terrorists, because the terrorists are nothing but NATO, America, and their allies in Africa continue creating chaos whilst they will take advantage to lose our resources. That is what they do. And Mama Arikana asks a question to them.
Tell me, why is it that we are here in Ghana, there is a military base here that American soldiers can walk in, no passport, no ID, they walk right through. If they commit crimes, they rape women, they kill women, no policeman in Ghana can touch them. Why? Where is the Ghanaian military base in the United States? Where is the French military base? Where is the Burkina Faso military base in France? Where is the Nigerian military base in Russia? Every superpower is building bases throughout Africa. Where are the African military bases in those countries? As I say some of these things, it's almost like it's a joke. So we need more Traores in Africa.
Yes. When will they allow us to also have our military bases in their countries? If they will not allow us, what are their military doing in Africa? The only reason their military in Africa is to cause chaos, is to promote terrorism, not to fight terrorism. They are there to promote terrorism, not to fight it. And until we kick them out of Africa, we will continue to deal with terrorism. Until we kick them out of Africa, we will continue to deal with terrorists. Because there is no African who is a terrorist. The terrorists are the terrorists are the European colonial criminals. They are the terrorists. And until we kick them out, all their military bases. And the question is, when are we going to have the balls to stand up as men and women of the great continent of Africa and say enough is enough, get the hell out of Africa. You, these colonial criminals, you have nothing good to offer us. Look at the insult. Look at what he's saying. That when he first got the job in Brussels, he's talking about the European Union. That time, Libya was controlled. The course of Libya was controlled by Italy and France. Even though Italy and France had their differences, but they still maintain those parts of Africa. And today they have lost that to Turkey and that of Russia. The thing is, what are we, the children of Africa, doing? They are talking about their interests. And in all this, they don't see us to be nothing. And it didn't start today. It started the day that they sit in Berlin and divide Africa among themselves. And we keep saying it. The only way we can gain back our dignity as children of Africa is to dismantle all this Berlin Conference criminal petition that they petition Africa among themselves. Until we do that and get rid of all these military bases in Africa, I am telling you, that we'll continue to fight terrorism in Nigeria. We'll continue to fight terrorism in the Sahel. We'll continue to fight terrorism in Mozambique. We'll continue to fight terrorism in Somalia, because the terrorists are nothing but the Western colonial criminals. They are the terrorists. There is no terrorists anywhere by the Western colonial criminals. They are the ones we are fighting against. When you see the Malian troops and the Wagner group fighting those so-called terrorists in Mali, it was NATO they are fighting. It wasn't any terrorist group anywhere. When you hear that 350 Burkinabe just last week were unalive by terrorists, it wasn't anybody but the Western colonial criminals. They are there with their military bases, and it's so disheartening and annoying sometimes. You don't want to go personal to attack our leaders, but you ask yourself, why will Ivory Coast allow the Western colonial criminals led by France to have a military base in Ivory Coast after we don't sack them for Burkina Faso, for God's sake? Burkina Faso and Ivory Coast, we are one people. We are one people. So how come you allow France to establish military base just to use those bases to continue to destabilize your sister countries, your brothers and sisters in Burkina Faso? Why? Why? Can we continue to blame the Western colonial criminals for this? It is about time we stand up as children of Africa, unite and get rid of unpatriotic leaders in our continent. It's about time we do that. And this generation of Africans, we have the chance never before afforded to any generation of Africans to bring that. We have the chance never before afforded to any generation of Africans. And then we must unite to do that. Get rid of all the colonial criminals. Until we get rid of them, we will continue to fight terrorism, and it's even going to increase. Those countries that you think there are no terrorists in your country, wait. Don't let us get rid of these military bases in Africa. I am telling you, you will wake up one day and there will be terrorists in your country, because the terrorists are nothing but the Western colonial criminals. I thank you very much for coming around. Please, if you appreciate what we are doing here in One Africa Mission, please don't hesitate to subscribe to our YouTube channel, One Africa Mission. Follow us on Facebook, One Africa Mission. On TikTok, One Africa Mission. We are on a mission until we get rid of colonial criminals out of our beloved continent of Africa. Thank you very much for coming around.